let's go ahead and check the job manager and see if any of our rock doors have completed, and indeed we've completed one. So we're going to go ahead and hit build, and we're going to hit D for door. And we're going to place that right here, so this office seems a little bit more official. We're getting close to being done down here, which is kind of exciting. We've had a lot of food go to waste. And as you can see, we're still shipping rocks back over here, which keeps our doors super busy, because as you can see, there's tons of rocks and tons of space to dump rocks in. So, and this dwarf is getting thirsty. We're almost done. 2 more. You can do it. You can do it. Perfect! So we have finished this room, and this will be our food stockpile, because this is going to be our dining room, and this is going to be our sort of kitchen area. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a stockpile, and we're going to make it for food. And like I said, dwarves can move through any space in a stockpile, so go ahead and paint a square here. And we're going to change that a little bit. You recall we made a seed stockpile upstairs, so we're going to go into food, and we're going to make sure that all of the seeds continue to go up there. So we are going to forbid them. Everything else is pretty standard, paste, that sort of thing. All of this can be sort of useful, so we're going to go ahead and leave that. And this will put more dwarves to work because we have food to store. So we're going to go ahead and reopen some of these projects, not in any particular order, because we are ready to have them done. I believe that's the center. Here are gems. Some rocks still left in the stockpile. I know I said it in the other sort of zones where the trees actually got in the way of stockpiles, or zones, but that actually does not count in the case of rocks and stockpiles, so this was not interrupted. Trees will actually interrupt your stockpiles, but rocks are not necessarily as big, even though these count as like boulders and the kind that can like smash your head in, which is bad, unless you're using it as a trap defense, in which case, by all means, smash away. So as you can see, our farm is getting underway. This blinking means it's ready to, basically, if it exists, if you can see it, it's ready to be harvested. If it's blinking, it means it needs to be harvested soon or it will go bad. So see, this one is also ready to be harvested, and as soon as someone is free, we have 0 idlers. Someone will come by and they will harvest that, which anyone can do. And they're still moving food down here, which is good. I am actually going to deprioritize this hallway, so we're going to have the kitchen area and the dormitory be our primary choices. And I'm also going to keep my dwarves busy because we're going to want to get started on this sort of meeting hall here. So we're going to start by placing tables. So go ahead and hit B, and then hit T for table. As you can see, my numbers were off because this is not symmetrical, which is upsetting, but I will try not to freak out as much as possible. And I sort of build them in a sort of like logical array that you would kind of see in like some sort of fancy like mead hall or something. And this, the way I do the chairs, we need a lot of chairs. So we just ran out of tables, so now we're going to go to chairs. So once you place like a table or a bed or something, you actually stay in the build menu on this side. So instead of hitting B and then C, you can go right into the C's, and I basically arrange them around a table, sort of like a restaurant. So we can just go ahead and hit C. If you have no preference about which chair to go there, like if you have a platinum throne, that will actually appear in this menu, and you might not necessarily want one of your platinum thrones to go as a general like food chow hall chair, so that's definitely something to be aware of. And you can go ahead and you can post those around the tables in any sort of fashion. It doesn't really matter. You can maybe try and get one on every table so all of the tables are useful, or you can just go ahead and order more wooden chairs. We'll order 20. Why not? so we just finished our tables. Our little dwarf friend here is working pretty hard. I thought I told them no seeds. Actually, the reason why there's a seed in here is because there were no places to sit, so they actually just ate the food straight out of a barrel, kind of like barbarians. But we're hoping to move away from that, and we're hoping to have less spoilage up in our farm by having this food stockpile. Again, if you're new to this, you can definitely, you don't have to necessarily build it as fancy as I do. I don't even know if you could call mine fancy, but I definitely have gone and passed through my phase of messy fortresses, so I tend to like things in very precise sort of setups. Alright, so we're working on the dormitory now. And the dormitory is basically used as a stopgap. Usually you'd try and get it built a little bit before this point, but I sort of had grandiose designs here and here, and that can obviously take up time. So it's only getting built now, so the dwarves are kind of grumbling at me, but they'll get over it. Because they're dwarves. They have their beer. See, and he is moving the seeds directly to be planted. He doesn't move them necessarily to this stockpile and then to be planted just because he has them available. So he's not going to necessarily waste time. We're still moving food in, and you can see all of my dwarves are busy. So it'd be nice to get migrants at this point, but obviously I can't will migrants into existence, unfortunately. So the next thing I'm actually going to work on is going to be a trade depot. So I'm going to actually, in the future, I might use this fortress to show you how to build a defense. So we are going to plan as if, yep. So we're going to plan as if this will actually this will be transformed into a defensible sort of location. So we are going to build a trade depot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to build a back route because I am assuming if I don't necessarily I'm going to build defenses here, so I don't necessarily want the invaders, not if they'll come, but when they come, to necessarily get around them by coming through here. So I'm going to build a back tunnel. I'm going to build a downward stairway. And then again, remember with the stairways, you need to meet them. So we're going to build an upward stairway. So as you can see, the icons change. So that means they are connected. And then we will build, let's see, we will... I'm not connecting this just because I don't want them to work on it at this particular juncture, but we will connect it here. And then we'll start constructing general storage here, so dwarves don't have too far to walk to the trade depot. And we will probably build in some type of security system. Ah, crap, I didn't actually want them to do that. Nope, 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 stop. You can't do it past there. So again, that sort of cutoff thing is a way to keep them on task, because obviously I want them to build places for my dwarves to sleep, rather than extra hallways and things for plans that will be laid out in the future. And of course, he stops halfway through, so nothing is complete. It's taking us a long time because usually the path between here and there would be really short, but I've kept my miners from digging this out just because obviously it would take a lot of time and I have other jobs for them to do. So we're keeping this as a long route, which means all of the chairs and things are taking a long time to get delivered. Plus, we basically just don't have the manpower to get people over there, people and materials. So I believe we have another door finished, and indeed we do, so we're going to put that in the front of the dormitory. These doors do not lock unless you tell them to. So if you hit Q, because a door is in the build menu, you can definitely set that to forbid. So if you just want to keep a dwarf in a room, that's an option. However, they will slowly go crazy and they will complain at you a lot and it'll sort of clutter your things. There's definitely better ways to kill dwarves. And we'll probably go through that because it's definitely something you have to do from time to time. Alright, so our dormitory is basically complete, so we are going to go ahead and start moving beds over. And I made it kind of big because I'm basically thinking of a dormitory as like a hospice where all of the doors without a particular room go. So go into the build menu and hit B, and that will be for bed, and then sort of array them in any particular sort of fashion that you happen to like. So we're going to use all our beds here. We'll be adding decorations in this particular room later. But for now, we are just throwing stuff in there just so we have it. And now that they've finished the dormitory, I don't necessarily care what they work on, so I'm going to open up a few of my projects here. And as you can see, a dwarf fell asleep on a table. So, it's always nice to have beds available. Oh crap, we lost a dog. As you can see down here. So we will actually not be able to breed dogs. And you can see it's gone from the U list. So I'm going to view this creature just to see if... okay, so we have the female dog. So hopefully she's pregnant so she'll have puppies. Ooh, I think that sloth bear is the reason why we have a problem. So as you can see down here, we have a report of a sloth bear. We can't actually zoom to this because basically they've been missing, so no dwarf has found it, so it's not something you can see. So we're going to zoom to this, and apparently there's a sloth bear near here. So we're going to go to the U. We're going to go to Others, so you can see pangolin and sloth bear. So we're going to go ahead and zoom to the sloth bear with C, zoom creature, and it is right there. So it's that giant bee. So it's this guy. So we're going to unpause it and see what kind of goes down. Bee's kind of wandering around, sticking through the trees. A dog is chasing it. Oh, it's about to kill my dog. Oh, it killed my dog, which is there. It's kind of chasing. It's not really doing anything. It's sort of like a normal creature. It's just kind of wandering around. And it just walked off with something. What did you steal, you jerk? It stole our cave lobsters. After killing both our dogs. Get out of here. Get out of here. Go away. Shoo. 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 And there he goes. After killing both our dogs. So that's a tragedy. Yeah, I don't care. So again, whoop. Our ratio is off here. 1 second. No, it still seems to be off. Huh. Anyways, so we're going to make this a dormitory, like I said, so we're going to expand this off of the bed. So go ahead and hit Q, and go ahead and hit R to expand the room as a bedroom, and in the bedroom you can assign these. However, if a bedroom is created and it's free and a dwarf does not have a bedroom, when they go to sleep they will find an open bed and sleep in that, and that will be them claiming it. If a bed is open but it is not a bedroom, dwarves will sleep in them, but they won't necessarily claim them, so they won't go back to sleep there all the time. If it's a dormitory, it's basically a place that's designated to sleep, but it's not an ownership. So if they don't have anywhere to sleep, they'll go to the dormitory. At least that's the idea. Doesn't always work. See? So a dwarf went in there and fell asleep. So good work, dwarf. So as you can see, they finished the other side of this, so we're going to go ahead and end this episode with the part where we fill this out. So you're going to want, or at least how I design it, is to have all of the food production in the same sort of place. So we're going to want a kitchen, which is Z, I believe, but let me find it. Yep, kitchen, Z. So we're going to hit Z, and that will be another workshop. Most workshops are 3x3 as an FYI. So we will go ahead and, again, there's no numbers anywhere other than the amount of materials. They cap out at 99, so I actually have more than that, but that's as much as it can display. So we'll go ahead and add that as the building material we want to use. There are a few other things, so we will also want a still, because dwarves like their booze. We will go ahead and add that. And we also want a butcher shop. And as you can see, I'm actually in a bad way because I am not going to be able to place one of the workshops that I need. So I'm actually going to chop this up a bit. So that was a butcher shop. So what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to cut this out a bit. So let's see. Let's go 3. There we go. And we will add a fisher's workshop, so we can process fish as well. So as you can see, we sort of don't have any cooks or that sort of thing, so we will go back and assign our expedition dwarf, who is here. So we are going to give him a job. So again, that is V, and then it is preferences, and then labor, and then we're going to go to farming and related, and this will be brewing, plant processing, just because it's something else he can do. And then we will go to cooking. Oh, so we got some migrants. So this episode is a little bit long, but we will go ahead and do migrants here as well, just because we have the opportunity. So whenever migrants arrive, it will say so at the bottom. Any major event like this will pause the game and zoom to where they show up. So they always show up on the edge of the map here. The migrants are displayed by the flashing X. So we will go ahead and, so you can hit U, no, it's actually a utility in the Lazy Noob pack, I believe. But anyways, so we will go ahead and let them come. So I usually give them jobs while they're here. So I hit V, and I go over and I hit G, so I can kind of see what their jobs are. So this guy is sort of a Marksdorf. He is a great bowyer. And that's about it. So that's sort of okay, but we definitely want him to be doing more things. So let's go to P, which is the preferences, and then we'll go to labor. And since he has Marksdorf, what we're going to do is we're going to open hunting. So he already has hunting, but we're basically going to give him a few more of those, and he will start hunting. And we're also going to go to farming and related and add in butchery. So whenever he has the opportunity, he will hunt, and he will use that as meat. So we have the next dwarf here. So let's hit G and see what he does. He's a Marksdorf. He is a tanner. He is a stonecrafter. And so all of these things that they have, they will already have those abilities activated. So when you go to P and then L, you can see that he already has hunting activated. He already has tanning activated. Some of these all people come activated with, like feed patients and prisoners, recover wounded, hauling, and cleaning. So those would come on everyone. But we should sort of want to make sure that he learns how to kill stuff, and we will also give him butchery. So here is the next dwarf. So go ahead and hit V and then G and see what this guy uses. It looks like he was starting to learn how to become a warrior, not a very good one. But it looks like he's a good brewer and an adequate cook. So those are pretty good skills, but we're also going to add farming, just so he can sort of be part of that whole process. So the next thing we got was actually a creature, which is a turkey gobbler, and it's a pet, so there's not really anything we can do with that. So we'll just go ahead and let that go. We got another creature, which is this mule. So if you recall, in the before, we have pastures, and pastures need to have those creatures added. So go ahead and go to hit I for the zone, N, Shift N for the pasture, and go ahead and add that stray mule so it doesn't die of starvation. Excuse me. So we have an engraver here. He's a great engraver. He does some fishing, and that's about it. So you don't get a... engraving is pretty good, but we're going to give him mining and masonry. So we basically have someone doing that, because stone engraving is good, but we definitely have some other stuff for him to do. So here is the next dwarf. So this is a prime example of a dwarf we want to use for our combat, because he's a competent hammer dwarf. So that means he has some combat skill. He also is a great wax worker and a siege engineer, which aren't very useful or used very often, and dwarves sort of get sad if they don't have a job to do. So we're going to go ahead and... I'm not sure if I want to do that in this video. Well, I'll show you how to create it. So we won't go into too much about adding people, but we'll basically create it. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit pause it. And so this guy is, sometimes it's good to make note of their name, Oodle, whatever. But we're going to go to, first of all, we're going to go to Nobleman. And you can see Militia Commander is the first one here. So we're going to want to assign someone. And it will usually, if it's the last person who entered the map, they'll be at the bottom of the list. So this is the gentleman who happens to have all those skills. And you'll notice it says no relevant skills here. It doesn't actually have to do with combat. It has to do with like leadership and teacher and that sort of thing. And no one ever comes with those skills. So that will never, you'll just have to do it by name. So we'll go ahead and assign him. So then we jump out, and now we're going to hit M, which is the military tab. And so now you're going to have to create his squad, which is C. And he is a hammerer, which means he uses a hammer. And I usually assign them as metal armor, which means he will pick up metal armor when it becomes available and use that. So as you can see, there's a bunch of things here. We're just going to go a quick overview. You can have 10 dwarves in your military squads, and you can also change their equipment, which was E. So I'm going to make sure, instead of an individual choice melee, because he has hammer skills, I'm actually going to remove this. So we are, let's see, remove, enter. And enter will remove that. And as an FYI, in these menus, up and down will change that. So then we are going to go ahead and add a weapon, which is Shift W, and it will give you all the choices of weapons you can have. And there is all sorts of stuff, and all sorts of things that are implied on by this. But since he is a hammer dwarf, we are going to give him war hammers as the specific weapon we want him to use. Sometimes they'll have skills in it, but if you say individual choice, sometimes they like other weapons and go for those instead, which is kind of silly. So that is our first combat dwarf. The next thing we got was a stray gosling, which does not need any sort of action. And that is the end of our migrants. And then we, so as you can see, we dug this out, so we're going to go ahead and build a fisher workshop, which is H, and we will build that there. So we can process all of those muscles and things. So I think that has been an adequate showing. As you can see, our dwarves are sleeping in the dormitory, and things are going pretty well. We have food. We're about ready to start booze productions. Things are getting hooked up, and we will continue from here. Alrighty. So thanks for watching. I appreciate the views. Leave a like or subscribe if you happen to have enjoyed the video. And we will go ahead and we will see you next time. Thanks for viewing. We'll see you.